out there. Today I wanted to make like a part 3 kind of video to these pentatonic things I've been talking about. Part 1 was about playing the scale on one string every 5 notes, just on all 6 strings. And then part 2 is taking that same idea but then switching strings, so you go from the lowest to the highest note. Part 3 is going to be kind of breaking those up into 5 kind of, we call them pentatonic boxes or scales or patterns, whatever you want to call them. But they're really important, and I find that people learn the first one, but they don't learn the rest. But if you get the pentatonics, you'll get the whole neck, which is really cool. But let's just start at the very beginning. So we want to go, so most of the time, everyone plays that guy right there, right? But we want to know how to play that at the lowest all the way to the highest. So we're going to play a couple patterns like the same, and I'm just going to give each one of them a number. It's the easiest way to start to kind of remember how they look. But the first one we're going to play in the key of A minor is pattern 4. So we're going to play 2 notes on each string, and I'm using one of these picks from Guitar Center. But let's just jump right in. So we have the open note here on E, and then we have the 3rd fret on E, and then we have the open A, 3rd fret on A, open D string, 2nd fret of the D string, open G, 2nd fret of the G, 1st fret of the B, 3rd fret of the B, open high E, 3rd fret. So now what you want to do is you want to walk that back up. 3 0 3 1 2 0 2 0 3 0 3 0. So you have to trust me on this, kind of, because we can do a lot of stuff with that. If you've ever heard the song Heartbreaker by Led Zeppelin, all that cool stuff comes right out of that. But let's move on. We got a lot more patterns to get through. So the next one, what's cool about these is they're like puzzle pieces that snap together. So when one of them ends, the next one begins. So I always try to do it on the low E. So if my last note from that pattern was 3, this is going to be my starting note now for pattern 5. We're going to go 3 to 5 on the E, 3 to 5 on the A, 2 on the D, 5 on the D, 2 on the G, 5 on the G, 3 on the D, or 3 on the B, 5 on the B, 3 on the high E, 5 on the high E. Out of all of them, this one's the most symmetrical, I feel like, because you kind of have 3 5 3 5, and then in the middle 2 5 2 5, and then 3 5 3 5 again. And what you want to do when you're dealing with the pentatonics, you don't always have to do this, but if you have a stretch that's 2 frets, so like a whole step, you're going to go 1st to 3rd. And then if you have a stretch that goes from, say like the 2nd fret to the 5th fret, 3 frets, you're going to go 1st to pinky. Well, let's move on. So we've already learned pattern 1. We do that on the 5th fret. But when you're going through this every day, you just want to start, get into the habit of going up and down, you know? So cool. So now, so that one ended on the 8th fret. So now this is where pattern 2 is going to start. So I'm on the 8th fret of pattern, or 8th fret of the E. Then I'm going to go to the 10th fret of the E, 7th fret of the A, 10th fret of the A, 7th fret of the D, 10th fret of the D, 7 on the G, 9 on the G, 8 on the B, 10 on the B, 8 on the high E, 10 on the high E. Cool. So we just have one more, and then we have all of them because we've already done 4 and 5. So this next one starts on the 10th fret. What I tell kids to remember this one is pattern 3, you have 3 in a row. There's 3 whole steps. So you got first finger, so 10th fret to 12, and then 10 to 12 again, and then 10 to 12, so 3 in a row. When you get to the bottom 3 strings, it gets a little weird. We're gonna kind of step to our left. You have the 9th fret of the G, 12th fret of the G, 10th fret of the B, 13th fret of the B, 10th fret of the high E, 12th fret of the high E. Cool, so when you get to the 12th fret, everything starts over again. So that's where we're gonna have our pattern 4. So how this one looks is earlier we had 0, 3. Now we're going to have 12 to 15, 12 to 15, 12 to 14, 12, 14, this one's kind of weird, 13, 15, 12, 15. So after, you guessed it, we got pattern 5 again. So this 3rd fret is just like 15. So instead of thinking about fret numbers and getting stressed about that, just think about the shape. You know, earlier we had and then after number 5, we have number 1 again. So that would be, let's see, 12, 15, 17. Starting at the 17th fret, 17, over to. See, I try to think about the frets and I get lost, you know. But if I just think about the shape, the frets really don't matter, honestly, unless you're trying to learn some tab or something. But yeah, what you want to do, and what's cool about this guitar is I can do that that second pattern again, just barely. Cool, so we got all of them. So if I kind of just think about 3 or 4 fret kind of spans, we have pattern 4 here, pattern 5, pattern 1, number 2, 3, 4, 5, 1, 2. So it all just cycles around, and you can use these same patterns in the same order for every key. So that's awesome. We just need to learn it in one key so that when we move it around, we can kind of piece it all together again. But yeah, you wanna one way that I like to kind of go through that kind of quickly is we go all the way down to 1 scale, and go up to the next note of the pentatonic, and then walk back. So if I walked all the way down number 4 up here, then I'm going to go up 2 frets, and now I walk back number 5. Then I do number 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 1, 2. Cool. But that right there, and one extra thing you want to do, 2 things I kind of have for this lesson's over, is you want to say the notes out loud, just like we did on the first pattern, you know, when I was going A, C, D, E. Each one of these you want to go. You kind of want to learn the shape first so you can get it under your fingers, and then learn all the notes within it. E, G, A, C, D, E, G, A, C, D, E, G. And do it for all the patterns. It might sound tedious, but I mean, all we got is time. Might as well start. Might as well just get to it if you really want to play guitar, you know. Oh, and that last thing is practicing guitar and playing guitar. Totally different. You want to, like right now, I don't even have my guitar plugged in. I always practice with it unplugged, because you want to get the most genuine sound out of the instrument before you plug it into anything, a pedal, your interface, an amp. You just want to get as close to the sound in your head as possible before you get to anything amplifying. I think that was one thing that really helped me. I couldn't play too loud, but I like loved Led Zeppelin, you know, so I just wanted to play distorted power chords all day of my life. And so I would have to sit in my room and get this like A chord here to sound like there's certain notes you need to hit in that chord to get it to sound real like solid like that. But yeah, that was just one thing. So take some time, practice for 30 minutes, and then when you feel like you've gotten a good kind of practice session in, plug your guitar in and have fun, you know, forget about the world. But yeah, I hope that helped. Leave me a comment, like, subscribe, whatever. But yeah, have a good one. Till next time.